Hi folks, Job Comics here. We're having a look at another old Spider-Man run, and this is issue 225 of Spectacular Spider-Man. And if you look carefully, you'll see that this has got a 3D live-action Spider-Man holodisc on the cover, but I've got no idea if you can see it. These gimmicky things in the 90s kind of worked sometimes. I'm trying to see if you can see that, but nah. I don't know if you're going to be able to. What a shame. It's Spider-Man standing up. What if I tip it up this way? Hang on. No. No. And yeah, well, you get the idea. Anyway, this is from, let me show you the rest of the cover there, because this introduces, well, it doesn't introduce, but it features the new Green Goblin. I think he had appeared somewhere else before this. You might notice the art style here that 1995 we're in. I'll try and find some credits. Yeah, we got some loon ball that's setting people on fire, yeah. And we get a nice splash page here. You can see it's the return of the Green Goblin. We've got Harry's grave, we've got Norman's grave, and we've got Tom DeFalco writing, Sal Buscema doing the pencil breakdowns, and then Bill Sienkiewicz is doing the artwork on this. So you would probably notice Sienkiewicz's art before you notice Sal's breakdowns, which is quite interesting. They were churning these out in the 90s because the Clone Saga was in full swing. All the Spider-Man titles were all tied up in it, and as a result we had this huge convoluted mess of a story, which was plagued by the editors wanting this and the company wanting the story to go on longer than it did. You can see Peter here's in Ben Reilly's costume. There was so much going on, it's even hard to know where this fits in with the continuity of the story. We have the Jackal, who was making the clones, and we've got a new Green Goblin, and oh gosh, it's so hard to put this in place. I think Peter was getting done. Peter was in jail, but Ben Reilly took the rap. That's why Peter is here with Ben's costume on, but MJ is making a new costume for Peter, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that MJ was pregnant as well at this point here. So here we have Peter getting back into costume. There we go, and we've got the Jackal in the background. And we're getting a new Green Goblin. There he is in all his glory, and then for some reason the art went sideways. I don't know why that happened. Just because it was the 90s. And then we have a bit of a battle here. We have comics for sale. So we're getting the usual Spidey and Green Goblin fare. Lots of comics for sale in the 90s, huh? Yeah, it's just all over the place, this, isn't it? I remember buying these back in the day, and you had to actually be reading Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and just to sort of follow what was going on. And then at the end, just to make things worse, they introduce another Peter Parker. And you can even see in this next issue blurb, it says, another Peter Parker or one we've seen before. You have to wait until next issue to find out. And then you went over to Web of Spider-Man to find the trial of Peter Parker. and then come back here, and they would sort out some of the storyline. It was such a mess. And then we've got a backup story here because this was an oversized issue, and here's a splash page homage in Amazing Fantasy 15. There we go. And then they would use these bits at the back here just to try and fill in some of the details and try and explain, you know, some of the stuff that had been going on. I know that Wall-Crawling Creep claimed the credit for capturing the burglar who murdered Parker's uncle, but wait, why didn't see before? Parker's no serial killer. He's covering for the real murder. He's covering. So, you know, there was just so much going on. So next week, the trial of Peter Parker begins in Web. It goes through Amazing and Spider-Man, and the next issue, the trial of Peter Parker concludes, yeah? And the best way to see the cool Peter holodisc on the cover, if you have the enhanced version, is to hold a pen light or other direct light over the disc and slowly turn the comic around, and you'll see Spidey moving and Pete snapping a photo and flashing a smile. Looks pretty neat in sunlight too. Well, I don't know. I think at this point here, Marvel was in a lot of trouble. In fact, it was around about this time here that Marvel went bankrupt and led Stan to selling off a lot of the rights to the to Sony. So some people like this stuff. I'm not a great fan of it. It just went on too long. You couldn't keep up with the storyline, and then the story editorial wanted it to keep going, and it was impossible to keep this clone thing alive. It didn't work at any level whatsoever, and it's a kind of forgettable time. But I thought you might be interested in it anyway. I'm sorry this hologram thing isn't working. What did they say? Direct sunlight, and then turn it around and you'll see. Yeah, like everything else in the 90s, this just isn't working. So I hope that you learned something from this. You can pick these up really cheap, and the holograms probably work better in real life. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, you might give it a thumbs up and click subscribe. Sorry that this went on so long. I'll see you on the next one.